is when it is hooked. Sometimes it is slanted or sloped. Okay. Now the whole leaf appearance, can be lanceolate. That is like sphere. Okay. And this is the stalk. Can be turned upside down. The same thing turned upside down as up lanceolate. Okay. It can look like the middle. That is a secular. That is the whole leaf appearance. Okay. So you can look at the whole leaf appearance, its tip, its edge, its surface. Okay. The venation. So the venation too, it can be what you call the reticular. Okay. Or it will be parallel. Okay. So all these ones are kind. Okay. So there are so many variations. Okay. And sometimes the leaf itself, like we said, can be like palmate. So let's say something like this, palmate. And this one sometimes may be in lobes. Okay. Okay. So it can be palmately. When the palmate is split into two, then you are getting palmately what compound. Once you are getting to leaves, it's compound. If it's one, just one as a simple. Right. So these variations will come in. You can look at the terms. Then when we came to the fruits, which are arising from where the flowers that we have. So the Hesperidium, that is referring to the citrus, the orange group. Okay. So the berries, they have more seeds. Okay. We have Hesperidium, example being the fruits, the orange group. Okay. We have the purple, which is the one with the hard pericarp or the cover, which is example is the cucumber. Okay. Then we have the berry that we have described already. Tomatoes follow something that with multiple seeds, but that is juicy, or that is more like that is not the dry kind of fruits that we're talking about. Right. So that these are the terms that you can use. So you see that we have so many classifications, but if you know the terms, and then depending on just get the question, what the question is demanding. Is it about tip? Is it about edge? Is it about surface? Is it about texture? How it feels between the terms? Okay, that's the texture. Okay, is it the base? Okay, is it the whole leaf? Then these terms that come up, you can use them to describe. Okay, now this is the seed. If you take the seed has a coat. The coat, you have the tester as the outermost. The inner coat is the tegmen. Okay, then it may have a small hole in it, the micropart. Okay. Then you can have the raised portion close to that part. That is called the caruncle or the strophiole. Okay. So all these ones you can think of it. Because the embryo itself, the leaf embryo, there you have the root system, which is the radical part. You have the cotyledon, which is this one. Okay. Then you have the shoot system, the one to become the root, the one to become the plumule is to become the shoot system. The root system is a radical part. Okay, radical part. Okay, so these ones, once you get the terms, you can use them to describe the various parts as you go on. Right. So how the veins, that is venation. Okay. In the dicot, we have dicotyledonous plants. Okay, so they tend to have multiple. The leaves are multiple reticular. The stem to have multiple vascular bundles. That means multiple whole passages. Okay, but the monocot has one. Mono means one. The monocot has parallel venation. The veins will go. This is the leaf. The veins will go like that. Okay. And then the seed has just one cotyledon. Okay. And then the vascular bundles are dispersed in the system, and then they get into the root as well. Right. So these are the terms that you'll be using too. Of course, what we have described, the flowering plants that we have talked about, they are what we call the angiosperm. Angiosperm. Angio means vascular, okay, like vessels, passages, okay, sperm. They have the vascular system. The vascular system, it is it. You have the one that carries what? Food, and the phloem. The one that carries water and salt, okay. Then so that is the xylem, okay, from the roots. And then in between you have the cambium, okay, the cambium. And this is responsible for secondary growth, okay. And secondary growth because it will be adding on for the with the gift of the gift of the plant, okay. Right, so it will be adding on tissue or parenchyma, okay. Then the apical part will have what we call the meristem. Okay, this is where the cells that are always growing to add more tissue to the plant are. Okay, so you can have the one at the apex, that is apical. You can have one at the lateral part, and the parts, okay, lateral or the lateral meristem. Of course, it's way wherever there is growth, the root tips are also growing and so on, right? So they are responsible. The meristem is usually is responsible for primary growth. Okay, then the cambium between the foramen and the xylem, okay, is responsible for the secondary growth. The secondary growth is usually not is to increase the depth, not necessarily the height, the depth association. Right. So basically, these are the terms. Then when we start talking about them into details, we pick the topics, you should be able to coordinate them. Right. Good. The phloem is carrying with food that has been formed in the leaves, okay, to all parts of the plant. Right. So they are like the vessels in us. They are like the vessels, the blood vessels in us, carrying food to all parts of the body. Okay. Right. So that should suffice. I think when we come to the details, we'll be able to. Let's look at the last bit of terms to capture. So with respect to the flowers, okay, if it is at this point, we have it here, the flower is just at the point here. It's not at the apical point, okay, that's the corium, okay. This one is at the apical point. When it's at the apical point, it means additional new ones can be added on the side, but here new ones can be added on this. So that this will be the oldest, okay. This will be here, this will be the oldest, because once you add here, you can only add on the side, okay. So that is a sign, okay. You can have it on both sides. On one side when it is copioid, on one side, okay. And when you have this, all of them are rising from the same point, the same point on the branch, okay. Then that is the umbrella, okay, like umbrella, okay. It's like umbrella, okay. So here everything is on at the end, okay. Right, so these are some of the things. Then you can look at so all that we've been talking about. When you're talking about the leaves, usually make reference to the feather. Okay, so you can look at feathers too. Feather as in the birds. Okay, birds, their feathers, they have the flight one. The flight one will be very tough. There will be no spaces between them. They'll be connected. Okay, unless maybe at the base where you can have some loose ones. Okay, and then it will not be symmetrical. If it is symmetrical, it will not be able to find someone. So one part is not going to. The rankings will be asymmetrically through it, okay. Then those close to the skin for warmth, okay, trap warm air around the body. Then the contour one is to allow air flow or wind flow through it with less difficulty, so that it can not fly, or that will be the contour kind of feathers. Alright, so these are to guide us in our discussions, okay. I think I've taken quite a good step, giving all the words, explaining them so that you make use of them when you are reading. Right. Thank you. So an arrangement like this is also the Rasmus, okay, or the Rasmus, okay. The Rasmus is just like this one, where the tip is not affected, the sides are coming, so we can add more to that side. Right. So let's look at the last bit. So this is the seed that has germinated, okay. Germinated, okay. So this whole thing is the one which is going to grow to become the plant. The upper part is the plumule, becoming the shoot system. Then we have the epicotyl. Epicotyl is the upper part. Epi means above. Hypo is lower, okay. So epi means high, hypo is lower. till, which is this is going to become the root system. Okay. The micropart is a small hole close to this one, and then the raised area, which is also close to the micropart, is the caruncle. Caruncle or the strophiole. Right. The seed cover, of course, we said is the testa. The outermost is the testa. The inner one is the tegmen. Right. And then the seed food part. Okay, that is the cotyledon. If it is one, it's cotyledon. We may have two halves. Okay, in the dicotyledons. Alright. So this is a leveling of the seed. Simple leveling of the seed. We'll come to the various topics when we discuss it. Right.